Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. This is the December 8th, 2016 meeting of the East Fishkill Town Board. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. A couple of announcements tonight. The first thing I'd like to do is send out my thanks to the American Legion Post. We have the American Legion Post. It's called the Manny Bacon Post in our town, number 1758. And last night they put on a memorial service for the 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Very nice service, and I want to thank them for all the work that they do. And it was it was sincere, and it was a very good service. Also, I'd like to thank Senator Sue Serino, who stopped in and said a few words. Sue's always been a very good supporter, and I appreciate that. One last little thing that I do have to mention. Frank Augusta, I don't know if anybody knows our rec people, but Frank's retiring at the end of the year. Frank does a great job. I just want to mention Frank that he's been with, I don't know, he's been here as long as I can remember. He does work in recreation, always took care of things, and with Frank, if you asked him to do it, you knew it was done, and you knew it was done right. So Frank's retiring, and I just wanted to wish Frank the best and thank him for all of his work with the town of East Fishkill Recreation. That's all my announcements tonight. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilperson Cassidy.
Present.
Councilperson D'Alessandro.
Present.
Councilperson Franco.
Present.
Councilperson Marinaro.
Present.
Supervisor Hickman.
Present. Thank you, Madam Clerk. The town board has been provided copies of the minutes of the October 27th, 2016 meeting. Madam Clerk, have there been any changes, additions, or alterations to those minutes?
Not to my knowledge.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 27th, 2016 meeting as submitted?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Nothing tonight under receipt and file. Next on the agenda is public comments on agenda items only. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on any items on the agenda? It is a rather short agenda, so if there's nothing to speak about, I can understand that. But, okay, we'll move on then. Public hearing. The first item is a public hearing. This is a rezone application for grid number 6458-04-695224, iTooth Corporation. This is an application that had been made a few months ago. We had sent the application over to the planning board for their review. They came back and they approve of this rezone. And one thing I would like to mention, in addition, the planning board recommends the town conduct a comprehensive review of all parcels currently within split zones and consider potentially rezoning these parcels to eliminate split zones. And they go on to say that the surrounding uses and all that. What had happened, just so that you understand, back in the 60s when they did zoning, they took areas going down Route 52 and Route 376, and basically they took from the edge of the road, and they would take a number, and I believe it's like 300 foot in, would be a business zone, a B1 zone. Unfortunately, and we've seen this in the past, we've done several of these type of rezones, it'll leave a portion of the parcel residential. And that's cumbersome, because then you have to go through a business if you have a home there, getting access through there, and it was just how they did it in the old days. And we have seen, like I said, we've done several of these rezones in the past, and I would suggest, or I would offer, that I think we'll sit down next year with our plan and take a look at these, because when you see these split zones, it really does not nobody any good. You have a mostly commercial and then have a portion of residential. So we'll be taking a look at that in the future. Hopefully next year we'll wrap up, as the planning board has requested. We have done this in the past. And then we got notice from Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, and they have no problem with this. They consider it a matter of local concern. So with that, I'm going to open up the public hearing on rezone application for iTooth Corporation, and this is located at 1123 Route 82. That's just up past Clow Branch Road. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on this rezone?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Public hearing is now open. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak for or against this rezone application for iTooth Corporation? Anybody in the audience? Does the board have any questions?
No questions, but I'm happy that, you know, we'll finally put the planner to take a look at these split zones because it's, you know, it should be.
Yeah, you see how it happened. I mean, when they just went down, it should have been done parcel by
Right.
parcel and not 300 feet in from the property.
But, you know, when the town years and years ago.
We were a little bit smaller
yeah,
back
we were a
then.
little smaller then, right.
We probably didn't have as many parcels.
No.
So, any questions from anybody? No questions, no comments from the audience. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. The public hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion to adopt a negative declaration approving the rezone for iTooth Corporation? I call them iTooth Corporation. I believe that's what they're called.
Yes.
For their medical commercial uses on Route 82. Currently, they're both B1 and R1. It will be completely B1 if this is approved. Do I have a motion to approve this rezone?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you notify the planning department that this rezone has taken place, and they can notify, and if you would notify the applicant also?
Okay.
Okay?
Also, the zoning map needs to be changed, so I have to go
Yes,
to
we do.
it.
We'll have to amend the zoning map to show this change. Very good. Next, we move to resolutions. The first resolution is set the public hearing for the establishment of the East Fishkill Improvement Area. I've notified the board we will table this resolution to set the public hearing. We're forming a water district down Route 52 in the commercial area. We've already formed a sewer district down in that area for economic redevelopment of the old IBM West Complex and the corridor along Route 52. But as what happens is when you ask people, do you want to be in a water district? And they say, no, we're a sewer district. But then when you go to form the district, all of a sudden you have people say, oh, by the way, I'm having a water problem, I'm having a sewer problem, can I come in? So I would like to table this for a couple months because I think we have a couple more properties that are going to be wanting to come into the district. So I'm going to table that for this evening. Resolution number 2 is to amend building department fees. And the building department fees, in the past, we've always had building department fees for demolition. And what we had, everybody has a schedule of the building department fees. We had general, commercial, major demolition, in parentheses, industrial, and we have a flat fee of $300. But what we're going to be seeing is the redevelopment of the IBM site, both IBM sites actually. And it would really be more appropriate to set a fee, being as these are going to be rather large buildings. We'll be setting the fee based on square footage. Scott, the number you came up with was, I believe,
10 cents.
10 cents per square foot.
Yes.
So we've calculated it out. We're trying to be fair, but recognizing that you're not just going in and taking down a little building. These are going to be massive demolitions that we're talking about. So we've discussed the matter, and we just felt it would be more appropriate. So what we're going to do is going to change it from commercial major demolition and keep that at the $300 flat fee and establish, excuse me, industrial demolition. And industrial will be set at the 10 cents per square foot. And some buildings be smaller, some buildings could be much larger. So I'll read the resolution. Whereas the building department has requested the building department fees be amended to the effect that I just read. Whereas the town board has reviewed the requested amendment and the schedule, now therefore be it resolved that the proposed amended fee schedule for the building department be and hereby is adopted effective immediately. Do I have a motion to amend the building department fees?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, any questions?
I just got one. Scott, that's the only one we're adjusting on this, right?
All the other fees are staying the same?
Well, to that, I will say, we'll be looking at all the fees in our reorganization meeting,
Yeah.
so
But
there's
as
gonna
of
be
right
more.
now, this is the only one we're
That's it.
changing today.
Right,
Okay,
as
that's all
of
one.
tonight.
What I
Because
thought.
these demo permits are gonna be approaching, so we wanna.
Imminent.
Yep, it's fine.
So with that being said, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of amending the building department fees, please respond by saying aye.
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 Right?
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Number 3 is to reappoint a member to the Board of Assessment. Councilman Cassidy, would you read this resolution, please?
Whereas the town assessor has advised that the term of the member of the Board of Assessment Review has expired on September 30th, 2016. And whereas it is being the desire of the town board to reappoint, now therefore be it resolved that Ayad Engil be and hereby is reappointed to the Board of Assessment Review for the term of reappointment from 10/1/2016 to 9/30/2021.
Great. Thank you very much, Councilman. Do I have a motion to reappoint the member to the Board of Assessment?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. And I will just make, I would like to make one note that our Board of Assessment Review does a very good job, and Aid is a very good member on that board. I'm glad to see him being reappointed. Number 4 is to schedule town board meetings for 2017. Councilman Franco, would you read that resolution, please?
Whereas the town board has determined to review and schedule meetings in 2017, and whereas it is the desire of the town board to have regularly scheduled meetings. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board shall conduct their monthly workshop and regular meetings per the attached hereto, and be it further resolved that the attached said meetings shall be held at the town hall and shall commence at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Councilman. Boy, it's hard to believe we're scheduling the 2017 town board meetings. Do I have a motion to schedule the town board meetings as submitted?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor respond by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. You know where we're going to be second and fourth Thursday next year. We have, next one is to reaffirm the bond for the highway materials. And this is one that we had actually voted on back in July, but because bond council hadn't submitted to us their bond resolution in their format, we're going to reaffirm it tonight. Mark, would you like to explain about the bond that we're reaffirming tonight? It's for $400,000, and I know the term is not going to be any longer than 2 years, correct?
Correct. So this was $400,000 for paving in 2016. The funding ultimately is going to come from salt savings salt and sand savings in 2017 because of the amount we purchased this year.
Yeah, we had a contractual obligation to purchase a large amount of salt. Finding a place to put that salt was a challenge in itself, but we do have a lot of salt, so that the savings from next year will pay this.
We won't require as much in 2017. We'll start the year with full sheds.
Good,
And
very full shed.
Yep.
Bulging shed, I think we could probably even say. All righty. Do I have a motion to reaffirm the bond resolution for the town highway materials?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk will speak about the bond resolution tomorrow. We'll get that taken care of.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. All right, I do have 2 from the floor. And at the last meeting, Toll Brothers had requested an extension of the period for which we would accept their roads. Our highway superintendent, our town engineer were observing their work, and they were working very hard to get these roads to a condition which we would accept. And I do believe they did an extensive amount of work to make sure these were going to be town roads that we would accept. I'd ask Scott, and I know our highway superintendent, Mr. Bill McClellan, is here. I think we're good with these roads. The Toll Brothers has done everything.
Bill and I are both in agreement, yes.
Okay. And the roads that we're taking over are going to be in Four Corners, and they're also going to be in Hopewell Glen subdivision. Now, we're not taking over all whole roads, so is this correct? We're only taking over portions of roads?
It depends on the,
Because it's a phased
Site.
project.
depends on the site. In the case of Hopewell Glen, we're taking Four Corners Boulevard in its entirety and portions of Fenton Way and Hoffman, those portions to the east of Governor's Boulevard.
Okay.
Okay, so in that case, it's just portions of roads. In the case of Four Corners, it's basically the balance of the public roadways. There are certain roads in Four Corners that remain private.
And they're going to remain private
Yes.
as per the approved plan, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are these the rest of the roads in Four Corners, or
The roads that were originally...
that will be turned over to the town?
Right, right. This is
Okay.
the balance of the roads that were originally intended to be dedicated to the town.
Okay, in Four Corners.
At Four Corners.
Okay, very good.
The one thing I will add is that because of the late dedication, Toll Brothers has agreed to maintain the sidewalks for this winter along these roads.
Much appreciated, because we did bid out the snow removal
Right.
some time ago. And they're posting maintenance bonds. The maintenance bond shall be posted by the developer of Four Corners in the amount of $1,499,000, and Hopewell Glen in the amount of $1,437,00 to ensure the work is satisfactory during the guarantee period. And we have the bonds?
Yes, we do.
Okay. All right.
Bonds are in place for this?
We received them today.
Okay.
I'll read the resolution. Whereas the planning board previously had approved the Hopewell Glen and Four Corners subdivisions within the town, whereas the contractors building the same have indicated that certain portions of the roads known as Governor's Boulevard, Fenton Way, and Hoffman Road in the Hopewell Glen subdivision are now available for dedication. Whereas the contractors building the same have indicated the roads known as Four Corners Boulevard, Bayberry Street, Benton Moore Road, Chestnut Street, Persimmon Place, and the intersection of Phillips Bridge / Park Place in the Four Corners subdivision are now available for dedication. Whereas it is the desire of the town board to accept as certain portions of public highways Governor's Boulevard, Fenton Way, and Hoffman Road in the Phase 1 of the Hopewell Glen subdivision, and Four Corners Boulevard, Bayberry Street, Bayberry Street, Benton Moore Road, Chestnut Street, Persimmon Place, and the intersection, as we previously said, in the Four Corners subdivision. Now, therefore, be resolved certain portions. I'm not going to read the rest of it because it's redundant, but actually, do I have a motion to accept these roads in the Four Corners and the Hopewell Glen subdivisions?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And so I think we have the maintenance bond, so I think we should be in good shape. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Sorry, any, yeah, opposed? Thank you, motion carried. Boom. Off there. The last one, I do have one from the floor, and I would just like to make note that the highway superintendent is hiring Mike Cicero. He's one of our seasonal employees, and he's going to be hired to full-time as of 12/11/16. So this is to acknowledge the hiring of Mike Cicero to the position, and with Frank Augusta leaving at the end of the month, I think it is very appropriate that we bring on somebody, and Michael has proven himself to be a very valuable employee. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. And that's all of the resolutions for the evening. Budget transfers, we have no budget transfers tonight?
John, we need a motion and a second. We need a
Oh,
vote.
I'm sorry, well, no, you're right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. It's been a long day. Thank you. To acknowledge that the highway superintendent has added Mr. Cicero to the payroll as of 12/11/16. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. And Mr. Cicero should buy you a cup of coffee, Madam Clerk, because otherwise, next week he would have a problem. So thank you for that. No budget transfers. Now we move on to take public comments and general town issues. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on any general town issues, as we say?
Good evening. Last month, the highway superintendent gave me some paperwork regarding speed humps, and it was above my comprehension, so I think that the town attorney also got a copy, and I'm wondering if he had a chance to review that and what he found out. I hope it was good news.
I'll have a report for the board in January.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I can vouch for him. I've kept him very busy
all right,
in the month since the last meeting.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Good evening. My name is Mary Ellen Smolinski, and I live in Hillside Lake. Back in August, I had come into the town to ask you about paper roads, because I was having an issue with a paper road that abuts my property, I believe is the term. And you said that you spoke to the town attorney, and that, let me just read what was said. And I had this looked at by some other people, and they were asking me, what is exactly, does this mean that it's a civil matter, that the town supervisor wouldn't know what to do next? So I just wanted to,
Excuse me, and if I just clarify that, I don't think I said I wouldn't know what to do next. A paper road is an odd sort of road.
know what I wouldn't know, that I
for
wouldn't
you,
know
Mary
what
Ellen?
to do next.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
If I missed.
So I asked him, I thought we knew.
No, well, I did, and I,
Yeah.
I went back and I looked to look up more information on the town's codes and things like that. And there is no clear explanation as to how to rectify these kinds of problems, where people use it as another driveway, or have 7 cars parked in their own driveway, and then 3 more cars, and it's basically in your backyard is what they're
Right.
parking these vehicles in.
Oh, I
So
understand.
that's why I
Sure.
brought my camera with the pictures down there to show you.
Yeah.
There was a bucket truck there, there were vans there were big giant diesel pickup trucks there, and this is in a residential area. And along that side of the road, I own, my property abuts about over 300 feet, and probably a lot more. But also, I was the only person that lives there that actually has a piece of property that is that address. And what happened in June, because we were going to have a brush pickup, my son-in-law came up to go up onto the property and clear
Right.
off some brush and bring it down to Limekiln. Well, we couldn't because there was a bucket truck there. So one other time I came home and they actually decided to park right on my lawn, right by my
Yep.
grandkid's swing set. So now it's causing a little bit of issue. I don't want to have a problem with a neighbor, so I'd rather just know what the real laws are, so I can abide by them and he can abide by
Sure.
them, and we can all live happily ever after. But if I can't find out what,
yeah.
when you said a paper road is a paper road,
It's
exactly
kind of
what's a paper road?
it's a bit of a strange animal. Tom, would you explain just what a paper road is?
Well, and what I can do to, because also in this email, you tell me that I have rights, that I should be able to access my property at all times. Which, if there's no parking allowed on these paper roads, and they're not to be used as additional driveways for people, then I shouldn't have to go, I wouldn't know where to knock on his door, because he's done so much I don't even know where there's a front door on that house anymore, but I wouldn't go on his property because he's not, that happy with the fact that I'm not happy with him parking all that stuff there.
Sure.
So how do I rectify that?
Well, we'll talk a little bit, but I believe we came to the conclusion it's a civil matter, correct?
Well, first of all, what a paper road is a road that's shown on a map that's filed with the county clerk. They usually exist on older maps that came into being before planning boards and things like that. So it's not regulated by the town. It's under New York state law. There's not a specific law. It's history of cases and everything that the courts have decided. And basically what it is, it says when you have a paper road that's not been opened, which apparently yours hasn't, it's not opened as a public highway, then the adjoining property owners each own up to the center line of the road. The adjoining property owners along that paper road have the rights of ingress and egress. They can't interfere with it. So therefore, it's analogous to as if you had an easement over somebody's property to get in and out. But it's not controlled by the town. Town board has no authority to regulate it, et cetera. It's under the New York State real property law and the various court decisions over the centuries that have determined this. So if you have someone that's interfering,
With
it's
my-
almost like a trespass case. That's a private civil case that would have to be pursued in the court of appropriate jurisdiction.
Which would be
More than likely, the Supreme Court in Poughkeepsie.
in Poughkeepsie. So you'd have to file a case with
You would
is
have
it
to
a small
file an
claims?
action. Excuse me?
It's a small claim?
Well, no, it's not small claims. It's, under the real property law, you can file an action to get a injunction to enjoin people from interfering with your rights of ingress and egress. You can file an action to get damages for trespass onto an area that you have rights to.
Okay, and cutting down trees on my property would also be?
If it's on your half of the right-of-way, then that might subject them. There's a penalty provision in the law of treble damages if you cut somebody's tree not on your property without their consent, and they prove that, then the court can award 3 times the value of the tree.
So if I don't have access, though, to my property on a given day, what is my recourse for that given day to get access to the property?
There isn't any, you would have to get relief from the Supreme Court.
So
A
file,
police agency can't enforce it, there's a private manner. It's as if I were to park on your driveway, and refuse
so
to move my car.
wouldn't I be able to call the police and have you towed off my driveway?
No, because it's, as the supervisor indicated, it's what's generically called a civil matter, and it's not a criminal charge, so the police have no jurisdiction over it.
Okay,
I mean, they may try to facilitate, go talk to the person or something, but that's the limit of
okay.
it.
So, well, if that's, so the only step that if this person continues to want to block access to that property, I have to go to the Poughkeepsie Supreme Court?
Correct.
Okay, and file an grievance against them, or?
Well, it's a proceeding. I mean, it's
It's a proceeding.
summons and
Okay, so
complaints,
it's like a
formal
suing,
proceeding, yeah.
sue them, in other words?
Yes. mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
Very good, thank you.
I just want to thank the East Fishkill Rotary for this past Sunday for once again putting on a great Christmas party over at the community center, providing Santa Claus food and so on, the town maintenance staff for assisting, and also, you mentioned before, Frank Augusta is leaving. Well, I've worked with Frank for his 10-plus years here, and like to commend him for the job he's done for 10 years at the community center. The people who work in the community center are going to find it very difficult to miss him because he does a heck of a job, as did George, who just left, George Golden. But I think he definitely deserves accolades for what he's done over there.
Oh, he does.
And so does the East Fishkill Rotary.
Thank you, Bill. I had forgotten about that. Our Christmas tree lighting ceremony, which is sponsored by the East Fishkill Rotary, great bunch. They do a lot of good works in the town and in the community. So thank you very much for that. It was a very good ceremony. Anybody else in the audience like to speak on any general town issues?
Good evening. I'd just like to read something first.
Sure.
The residents of Worley Homes respectfully request the Town of East Fishkill Board to please move forward with the acquisition and improvements of the Hopewell Service Water System. Homeowners continue to suffer poor water quality and added costs with their current system. This water system has a dual disaster. The system needs to be addressed before long overdue paving can be done. Decades of patch jobs have turned the road into hideous moonscapes of cracks, patches, and uneven terrain. Resolution of the water system has to be done first. We, the residents, ask the highway superintendent and the Town of East Fishkill Board to provide a definite timetable, action plan, and benchmarks within 2017 calendar year that fixes the problem. I also have some names from residents that live in Worley Homes.
Sure.
So I'd like to. give
Oh,
that to
absolutely.
the
You want to
board.
bring him up, give him to the clerk.
Okay.
We talked a little about Worley Homes Water. We had about 40 residents in 2010 come to a town board meeting, maybe 50. And they expressed the same, and we understand. We absolutely, it's a privately owned water system, and we've heard all the complaints. We actually, back then, our engineer put together a plan to replace the mains and all that piping and all that stuff. And when I talked to some of the people, it's rather expensive, and I know you pay a low flat rate, but unfortunately, the quality of your water is terrible, and that's part of the problem. Now, we don't want to put anybody in the poorhouse in Worley Homes, because, you know, you can't just be, because of the cost of changing a system. And this is only my idea, and I've spoken to the engineer, and he hasn't laughed at me yet. You know, we've talked about possibly, I'd rather not remove the mains, to be honest with you, because it's going to be a huge cost to everybody. But if we connect to a clean water source, which we have, but we don't have approval from the Board of Health, and we don't have the other well online yet, that we could actually connect to your system. And my thought, and maybe the engineer's probably going to kick me or throw something at me later on, is to put in flushing hydrants at appropriate points. And the problem in Worley is, number one, it's not only the quality of the water, but there's lack of water pressure, and some of the higher elevations don't get water. So we had talked about that also, putting certain pumping areas in there. So this is my idea, to try to keep it reasonable for the people in Worley Homes.
Mr. Supervisor, maybe you can kick me, but we don't own the system.
We don't own the
So we don't
system.
have the rights to do that yet.
Well, but our problem to that also is that if we were to take it over, yes, it's a private system. And to the attorney's point, have you spoken to the operators of the system?
I'll let her take
Okay.
Good evening. I was at that meeting, and I have a copy of the Felicia Walker from Worley Homes, and we've been living with the road from hell. And it is certainly not your problem. You're, you know, very new, and please, we're not singling you out for yelling and screaming and stomping and jumping up and down. We don't want to do that to you. You didn't do this. The water problem has left homeowners in Worley Homes in a really terrible situation,
Yeah.
okay? We've been trying to get this resolved since the early 80s.
Okay. Can I ask you a question, though?
Sure.
Because as the attorney says, and as I said in the beginning, this is a privately owned system. Do you talk to the Board of Health? And what is, because they are the ones that legally, a private system, they oversee it.
Where we are, we are left at the point of individual homeowners don't have the clout to remedy our problem. We cannot form our own water company.
No, you can't.
No, we can't. And the health department will tell us what's wrong with our water, or that it meets the standards. It meets minimum standards. It's
does?
terrible. Yeah, it does.
Oh.
But it's terrible, okay? And because of that, we have been held hostage with the road work and the paving for over 3 decades. So when you come into Worley Homes and you're saying, you know what, my major asset is my home.
Right.
And if I'd like to sell that asset and get, you know, the benefit of that, somebody pulls it and they go, oh my goodness, this is not necessarily where I want to buy from, because these roads look like, I don't know, bad, okay? So we're not able to maximize our investment in our homes because of the way the roads look. We have a horrible water system that hasn't been remedied in 3 decades. And we're kind of getting to the point where, you know, we're asking the august body here to come up with solutions for us that are not way out in the future.
Right.
When this first started, I was able to see without glasses. I didn't have a limp, and many things weren't wrong.
Yep.
At this juncture, I need glasses to see. I have a limp and my back hurts. I would like to have happen,
Yeah.
the rest of us, that in my lifetime, so we can enjoy it, or be able to utilize the equity in our homes if we choose to sell.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
we are not able to do that, okay? We're losing, not to mention the money that we're using, that we're spending, each homeowner has to spend to compensate for the lousy water. So we're paying, and we're getting very
Yeah.
little return on our payment, on the taxes that we're paying, because to tear the roads up, to pave the roads, which are horrible, would require tearing them up again to fix the water problem. What we need is something definitive.
Right.
Is this going to be the plan? What do we need to do And when is the time frame for this? Okay, rather than something out in the future. I just can't, I got only one good knee, and I really
Gotta
need to.
do this before your other knee goes, let's
Yeah,
face
I
it.
really, that would really be wonderful.
Yeah, no, we've known about this. As I said, people had come to us years ago, back, I think 2010, maybe I think it's 2010.
Well,
And
you
we've
did
understood the problem out there, and I do speak with the Board of Health on occasion, and, you know.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, sure.
Old people,
Oh,
manners,
no
mine
problem.
is shot. Preliminary study for acquisition and improvements of the Hopewell Service Water System, Worley Homes, prepared for the town of East Fishkill. This was done in January 25, 2011.
Oh, 2011, okay, that'd have been about the
No,
time, yeah.
it was there, and it was comprehensive, and we all got excited. We looked at it and go, ooh, something can happen. No,
What was the cost? What was the total? I mean, there's, should be in there, it's gonna be
that
your,
is the back page here.
yeah, your quarterly and your annual, yeah.
30-year bond. Jeez, if we had gotten this done back in '80, we'd have been finished with the bond. I'm sorry, I mean.
Oh, no, I understand. And we had, because we had just,
System purchase, $100,000 expenditure, $44, this is 30-year bond, $44 per home. Operation and maintenance, $268, 30-year bond. Filtration, $95. Water storage, 100,000 gallons, 168. Pipe replacement, 3-inch and 4-inch, 430. Cumulative cost, okay, that was 44. Operation and maintenance, 312. Filtration, 407, $407, excuse me. Water storage, this is again under the cumulative cost, 575. Pipe replacement, 1,005. 2011. We have been at this so long, we could have gotten this done 3 or 4 times.
well, we could have certainly, but as I said, we had a couple of meetings here. The first meeting, there's about 40 or 50 people, and then we went and did that. And after that, there's many residents from Worley Homes in, and we talked about it, but they said, oh gee, the cost is rather expensive. And what is the cost? Does it have the breakdown of the annual or the quarterly cost there?
Not on this
Yeah,
sheet.
but then that was the problem. I forget what we were looking at off the top of my head, I can't remember.
I'm just curious why, over this time period, and again, this goes over different administrations, that there weren't any, or maybe it was, I don't know, pursuit of community development block grant, federal funding, state monies, any other dollars or funding
Yeah.
that could be made available to minimize the cost to the homeowners. It would seem that this type of situation
Good
that is
point.
causing such a hardship for this extended period.
Yeah, we're trying to,
Looked into that, but East Fishkill as a whole is
Yeah.
above these thresholds for income, so East
Yeah.
Fishkill's more.
that's right, because we had
We
the
went
meeting
through
in
the
the
revolving fund, New
library.
York State revolving
Yeah.
fund, to see if we get a low-interest loan. And they didn't feel that this project was eligible because it goes on the wealth of the community or the income of the community. They
Yeah.
have a lot of factors. The other issue, I know the supervisors pushed the health department several times. We were hoping to be able to get to the point where the operator would surrender the system, which would eliminate the cost of the
$100,000, yeah.
purchase of
Well,
the system.
one of the things, again, going back and.
Let me just go back to what they say, because this is, like you say, 2011. We actually met with Department of Health, and we talked with the grant writer.
Right.
But there was a
Well,
problem,
it
like you
didn't
say.
score enough points.
We didn't score, we had to score points.
Was a low-interest loan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to score points on the New York State
Yeah.
system, and we didn't make it.
Well,
Yeah.
this is something.
So we did try to get grants.
I'm just a little surprised that they don't want to surrender, because I'm looking at something here in regards to purchase of the system. This is dated 1994. Nothing further has occurred. This after meeting with the town in 8/17/94, in view of this, because the company was ready to get rid of this thing, is moving forward with its request for rate increase, okay? This is something that's dated, the date of the note is 95, and it refers to a meeting in July 1989, with over 51% of the customers in Hopewell signed a petition requesting that East Fishkill take over the Hopewell Service Corp. The town, however, never did follow through on this petition, but are now pursuing the purchase of Hopewell Service Corp. Again, there's these starts and stops. And it would seem to me, given, I think I remember hearing something, maybe I was watching the meeting on TV, about a number of Worley Home residents have just kind of given up and stopped paying water bills. I would think that Hopewell Service would like to get rid of this thing.
We can't speak for a private company, I have no
Well, I
idea.
understand that.
Yeah.
But we're looking for some guidance, we're looking for a way to remedy the problem. Okay, we are beyond the chicken and the egg situation here,
Sure.
okay?
The chicken's out of the hen house a
The
long
chicken-
time.
Well, the
No.
chicken and
Oh, I
and the
understand.
egg can't roll along the
Yeah.
road because the road's so bad. So we need to come up with some kind of solution,
Yeah,
which requires us getting the water situation resolved
First,
first, so that we can
absolutely.
get the roads
Yeah.
paved. And obviously, by not having our roads paved for the number of decades it hasn't,
Mm-hmm.
we've indirectly saved the town a little bit of money, because it hasn't had to be done.
no, no, understood. We could take a look
Or
at
we can
this.
each get it, you can send us all checks. However this works.
No, we can't send you a check.
Okay,
I
we
can't send you a
just-
check.
we just
You
thought we'd
guys
throw
want
it
to
out
stop in sometime and let's talk about this a little bit?
Well, we-
Absolutely, we can revisit this.
I don't mind, and I hate to keep cutting you off. As I said, I'm aging rapidly here.
Oh, no, you can't, no, we don't want you to age anymore.
We're aging rapidly. Really looking for a solutions at this time. And we're looking for solutions that are time-sensitive, okay? And again, I can't understand why, I know there was something about being within it was income-sensitive? Is that why we weren't
Yes,
able to do that?
with the grant we
And
made.
is that also applicable
Well, you know, I do think probably part of the problem goes back to the Board of Health, because we had a big meeting after that 2011, and we had a meeting with New York State Board of Health, Dutchess County Board of Health, and I believe it didn't score enough points on the state qualifier, whatever they used to qualify. You
For
had
an
to cer-
outright grant.
Yeah,
Right, for an
yeah.
outright grant. yeah.
So it didn't qualify.
For an outright grant?
Well, let's just say this, I know that they just signed another bill into law after
Well,
what
we s-
happened in
We can certainly
Michigan.
revisit if the board
And this
wants.
actually might be a good time to actually look for a grant. But I
when-
have no
when
problem
would-
looking at this again.
When would it be an opportune time to meet and set up some kind of, so
Oh,
we
give
can
a
get...
call. Give a call at my office. I can give my office phone number, right? It's just like public
Yes,
notice,
and
right?
use
Right?
it.
I get in trouble with the board all the time. I say the wrong thing. Give me a call, 221-4303, and let's sit down and take a look about Worley Homes. If that's fine, I have no problem with that. Believe me, we've known about the problem. I get calls from Worley Homes on occasion.
I'll write it for you.
I shall write right down.
It's a big piece of
I've
paper,
actually
but I'll write
spoken to the Board of Health about it, you know, but if it's as you say, they meet the minimum requirements, that's the problem. Let's see what we can do.
And I might add, those minimum requirements seem to change after the town acquires the system.
Yes. One other thing, too, I do think that purchase of debt incurred in the purchase of the water system goes against the tax cap. Is that
Oh,
correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's always, also been a problem, because we have New York State as a tax cap, and if we incur debt to purchase a system or upgrade a system, it goes against the tax cap. So New York State hasn't been very helpful in this case, but let's see what we can do.
Well, if we can maybe look at our state and federal representatives as well, and
Yeah.
perhaps get
Absolutely.
their assistance and put together some kind of viable alliance to get this addressed, that would be fantastic. I will be giving you a call
More
tomorrow.
than happy to talk to you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Another gentleman approaches the podium.
Good evening. My name is Don. I also live in Worley Homes. The water department went through and marked where repairs to valves or shut-offs on the road, and nothing's being done yet. How come?
I'm sorry, with what? The road, the valves?
They painted areas on the road where they have to fix the valves
Oh, are the valves? for the-
before the road gets paved.
Okay.
Nothing's been done, and that was done like early summer,
What color paint? Blue?
mostly blue.
Blue's usually water. Okay,
It
I
must be
can't
Hopewell Service. It would've
speak
been
for
ours.
that company, because I have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah. But that was, they were gonna do the repairs before the paving.
Yeah,
And the only thing they've done is went through and
Painted
painted the
it.
road.
yeah. I can't speak for Hopewell Service Corp.,
No.
so.
Alright.
I talked to some of the owners of Hopewell Service Corp. and indicated that in the road assessment plan that I presented to the board, that I wanted to repave Worley Homes in 2017 completely. So I believe is what they've done, or had done at the time, is started going out and marking their valving, so they know what they had to repair, because I wanted it completed prior to me repaving. But unfortunately, the paving plan was,
Not approved.
Not approved.
I want to be politically correct here, not approved. So, I believe that's why they probably aren't doing anything now.
Okay, thank you. But let's see what we can do about the, first step is see what we can do about the water situation. So look forward to talking to you. All right, thank you very much. Anybody else in the audience like to speak on general town issues? There being none, comments from town board members. Anybody in the town board like to make a comment or anything at this time?
Yeah, I'd like to make a few comments. I'd like to
Please do,
thank all the Town of East Fishkill employees for another year of hard work and dedication. Thank you. And to everybody in our town, wish you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, or whatever you celebrate. And to thank all the residents throughout the year who sent me emails or calls. I appreciate them all, good and bad. I'm here for you, and keep them coming. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Anybody else?
Merry Christmas to everyone, and also to mention Frank Augusta again. It's a shame that we're going to lose him. He was a great guy. It was always nice to see on the fields late at night. He would always be there.
Yep.
So it was a lot of fun, and he will sorely be missed.
Thank you.
Just Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone, and thanks to all the people here that work and keep the town going.
Councilman?
I want to thank the whole community. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank everybody that works for the town, all the town workers, the police department, the fire volunteers, that they do a great job for this community, and they save a lot of people a lot of tax dollars. Thank you all. I think there is a new president to be elected and to be sworn in the next year. And I hope great things economically and a lot of success even for the town of East Fishkill. Thank you.
Well, with that, I guess the board has said it all, but again, I'd like to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, safe and Happy New Year, and thank you very much, and we'll see you again in 2017. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much.